I think you got to be very careful when you talk about gangs, that you don't confuse fashion and hip-hop culture with gang activity.
What I'm not happy with, and what a lot of people are not happy with, is when they harass citizens in the street or extort people for money, or business owners for money, or steal, etc. That's not acceptable.
From my limited knowledge, that's the perception I get, is that they do get in a lot of trouble, that they do things illegally to make money, and there's a lot of violence.
My definition would be a group of kids that get together to do illegal conduct and just be cool without people bothering them.
It's like kind of like an army to where you can't really get out of it once you join it, and no matter what, it's like a war.
Any group of people could be considered a gang, but usually the connotation of gang is that it's something that's negative.
I think it's an overused word, and I think people could be a lot more specific. If they're criminals, call them criminals.
I guess so many things are a stereotype, and for people like me who don't have a lot of experience with gangs, there are probably a lot of perceptions that are false or limited. So I'm sure someone who has more experience with gangs would say, yeah, there's a lot of stereotypes.
If somebody was to ask me, what does a city recognize as a gang? That's 3 or more people who have a common gang name, sign, or symbol that's related to color, race, religion, sexual orientation. That would be something that we would look at as a gang.
I think they have a negative impact on society, and I don't think that it's a positive activity for today's youth. I think they should be finding something to do that impacts society in a more positive way.
What makes that gang criminal? It's when that group of individuals commit crimes that benefit the organization, that intimidate or is directed to intimidate others, to claim turf or announce their existence. They participate in initiation rituals.
And so it can affect other kids in school because they're afraid of what might happen to them.
If a different rival crosses out your hood, you go out, you tag over theirs, or you can go out and you can start a gang war, or you can go out and do crime sprees. It's anything from tagging up a fence to committing a murder.
Those are things that take the gang from something that might be adolescent and not harmful, and something that we're really not as concerned about. But when we add in the criminal element of the crimes that we just talked about, then that's when we start looking at criminal gangs. Parents of gang members raise kids that ultimately end up being involved in gang activity, either from directly seeing their parents involved in gang activity and mimicking the activities that they're involved in, or those parents become incarcerated and those children lose positive role models, and therefore they aren't supervised and they don't have the opportunity to succeed, and they'll get lured into gangs as well.
Well, I think most of the time kids join gangs because they lack positive things to do. You know, they're looking to belong somewhere, they're looking for a peer group, they're looking for support, and they can find that sometimes in a gang.
I guess it's just like a second family, you know?
The main 2 Crip gangs that I've looked up who started in Oregon and played a big part were Columbia Villa Crip and Kirby Block Crip.
Pretty basically, we started up in California, moved up here, just always doing stupid things, you know?
Gang members move up here from Compton, Long Beach, Sacramento, Oakland, Oakdale, all over, you know, the main parts of California. Maxline is pretty much like a border to a lot of gangs, like over there in 162nd, 82nd, 122nd, over there, some part of 148th. It's divided between the north and the south. Sometimes it's between Norteños, Serranos, and Bloods and Crips, but you know, Maxline's, it's a mutual place where everybody can get on safely without having to jump or stab.
I think gangs have a very serious impact on our community. I think that a lot of kids who get involved in gangs end up with a future that maybe they didn't see or envision themselves involved in. A lot of youth get wrapped up in gang activity and either get seriously hurt or end up going to jail or JDH for long periods of time, and then find themselves with felony convictions, which makes it harder for them to look into positive career changes as they get older.
Usually they're taking part in activities that are illegal or hurt someone. If you're involved in a gang or you want to be involved in a gang, your focus is not on what it should be in school, and that's to be the best student you can be. And gang members aren't always focused on their coursework and their classes. It's other stuff that's not as good.
I'm talking about felony level assaults, weapons charges, narcotics arrests. Some of those things are going to be on your record for a lifetime, and those are going to be big hurdles or roadblocks for you to overcome as you become an adult.
Feeling this one, man. I give it about another 3 or 4 years, and there's going to be a rival gang war in the state of Oregon.
Actually, we had a student last year who was afraid to leave the gang because he had to be what they call jumped out. And he was afraid about how badly he'd be beat up if he decided he was going to get out of the gang.
We try to get people involved with other activities, such as PAL, GREAT, or DARE. Try and have early intervention, like in the grade school level and the high school or junior high level, to try and get them going in a different direction so they don't get involved in gangs.
I mean, I've heard of many programs that help gang members get off the street and help them remove their tattoos and give them jobs and experience. So I've heard of incidences where gang members have been very successful in life, although it's much more of a struggle for them because they just haven't had as many resources.
A lot of people, you know, die. A lot of people get shot, stabbed, jumped. Concerns would probably be different cliques that you know that you're in rival with. And dangers would probably be that getting shot, you know, anything could happen. You always got to watch your back.
There really are no gang rituals except for unless you go to a funeral of one of your friends dying in a gang.